After so many requests, we're finally doing it. Let's go to Chick-fil-A.
Please drive safely.
Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil-A. We keep getting these people asking for Chick-fil-A. And honestly, I don't really know what it is. Is it the sandwich? Is it that sauce, which is quite good? I feel like we have to make all of it. So today we're switching it up a little bit. We got a little bit tired of just being stuck in the kitchen. So we are right now on the way to a Chick-fil-A. It was 6.9 miles away, very nice. But somehow like 35 or 40 minutes of a drive. So I don't even know how we're gonna get back in time and finish the video before it gets dark out. But I'm really excited because we were getting a little bit tired of being stuck in that kitchen all the time. So I think this is gonna be nice to be able to really go out there, get some of that fresh fast food, and then go back and kick the crap out of it with a better version. Chick-fil-A is great. I think the thing about Chick-fil-A is that their sandwiches are top notch, right? No one can really deny that. And Chick-fil-A and Popeyes are up on the top for a reason. I am a Popeyes guy through and through. I just think Popeyes chicken is crispier than anything in the world. It is a perfect crisp every time. Chick-fil-A is a bit more simple, but their sandwiches are so good. But something about Popeyes takes the seasoning to the next level for me. With that said though, where I think Chick-fil-A does have an edge is all their sauces, which are fire. So in addition to making the sandwich today, we're gonna make some of those sauces because I feel like we do have to do that. Everybody loves Chick-fil-A sauce. It's got a little bit of that Dijon mustard in there. It's got a little bit of everything, which I think is key. Okay, you can go. All right. So,
All right, Sheila.
She just cut me off. Cut me off. This is so freaking far away. So we've officially made it here. We are at Chick-fil-A. This is huge. How are you? Yes, Nick? Yeah. Could we just do 3 of the crispy chicken sandwiches, please? Just regular? Yeah, maybe some fries too, actually. Just 2 orders of fries. And then a bunch of Chick-fil-A sauce too, please. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Oh, they have milkshakes. This guy looks like a bouncer. Dude, you might want to get the temperature of the car. It's pretty good. This is the perfect temperature, in my opinion, for the human body. Hello. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you. Hell yeah. Let's go. These fries are undercooked. They are good. For now, we secured the bag. I'm gonna close this up. We're gonna get back home and we are going to beat the heck out of Chick-fil-A.
And voila, we are back. That's right, we drove all the way, maybe about an hour and 15, an hour 20 to this Chick-fil-A to get the sandwich here in my kitchen. And now we're gonna quickly crank out our own version to be able to compare these head to head. So let's go. Now that we've brought our sandwich back, let's start out by making those brioche buns. We're gonna start with a cup of lukewarm water, about 3 tablespoons of nice warm milk, and for reference, this is all about 110 or 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Then, while whisking, I'll add in about 2.5 teaspoons of active dry yeast, really making sure it gets nice and spread evenly across this mixture. And then I'll also slowly sprinkle in about 2 tablespoons of sugar. Then, we'll let this sit for about 5 or 10 minutes for the yeast to wake up. Once that yeast has had some time to wake up, I'm gonna crack in 2 medium-sized eggs, close this down, and then mix it up. Once that's been mixed up well, I'm gonna pour this off into a bowl and set it aside. Now into our mixing bowl, we're gonna dump in 3 cups of bread flour, about 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour, a nice little pinch of salt, and about 3 tablespoons of slightly softened butter. For just a few moments, we're gonna mix this until the butter turns into the size of little crumbs. Now we'll place back on the dough hook attachment and slowly pour in that yeast mixture. You're gonna wanna scrape down the sides of the bowl to get everything well combined. And after about 5 to 8 minutes, our dough has become smooth and quite sticky. We'll take off our dough hook, pull off all that beautiful brioche dough, and scrape it from the bottom of our bowl. Dough that's this soft and sticky always gets me really excited. It's just so easy to work with, and it can make even the most inexperienced home chef feel like an absolute pro. Just look at how smooth this thing is. And I didn't even have to do that much work. For now, we'll plop this into a nice greased bowl, toss a damp kitchen towel over the top, and rest it in a nice warm place for about 1.5 hours until it's doubled in size. All right, now that our bread has been resting for about an hour and a half here, you can see it's drooping right over the side, and she's quite thick. I mean, seriously, look at that volume that we got just out of that yeast. What we're first gonna do here is move this out of the way and lightly flour our whole cutting board. Because of how sticky this is, we wanna make sure it doesn't stick to the board. As I pull it out, look at all those beautiful strands that are across that bread. All of that is sort of these air bubbles that have been created by all that yeast. And to feel how light and fluffy that dough is truly satisfying. That's when you know you've made a good dough. Let's quickly work this together and shape it into a nice little log that we can easily divide. We're gonna be cutting this into about 8 pieces because these are gonna expand again when we we rest them the second time. Once I've shaped this into a nice, somewhat even rectangle, we'll divide this across and cut it into those 8 pieces. Like I think I've mentioned before, if you really want to make sure everything's perfectly even, you can definitely go ahead and toss these on a scale, but I'm typically just a little bit too lazy for that. I can get them all to be a similar size. To turn these bad boys into perfect little buns, I like to place them down in my hand and slowly pinch from the outside in. Keep spinning and keep pinching until it begins to get a little bit sticky. Ultimately, it should start to look like a soup dumpling. And then, once you get that, flip it over on the board, and where there's no flour, roll it around in your hand until it makes a nice bun. The idea is that the sticky part will stick to the cutting board and help you to shape this into a bun. As you can see, after spinning it around just a few times, I've got this really nice brioche bun here. I bet Chick-fil-A didn't make these homemade this morning. Set this aside and do the same with the rest of your squares. Once those cute little buns are all laid out on our baking sheet, toss that same damp towel over the top of them and let them sit for another half an hour. Now for our chicken breasts. You know, I oftentimes actually use thigh when I'm making this kind of recipe, but I figured I'd try out breast for today. And don't get me wrong, I love breasts. Thighs are just a little bit more tender. To start, I just want to portion it all out to around the size that you'd get in your traditional Chick-fil-A sandwich. To do that, I'm just gonna eyeball it, and I might need to shave off just a little bit on the bottom to make sure that we match the thickness that we're looking for too. Once we've got a nice piece in a square, somewhat like this piece is ready to roll. I'll quickly do the same with a few more pieces of our chicken, and then of course we have to brine it. For the brine, I always keep it nice and simple for chicken. Simple yet delicious. First, I toss all my chicken into a bowl. Then we're gonna go in with equal parts buttermilk, which of course is very acidic and gives us some of that milky flavor. And then equal parts pickle juice, which is my special move that I want everybody to be doing. Since one of you had a chicken sandwich without a few pickle slices over the top, why not pump in some of that pickle flavor to that same chicken? It brings everything full circle. We're gonna let these sit in our brine for about 30 minutes or so to really pump in that flavor and break down some of that protein and make it more tender. Now, of course, our Chick-fil-A sauce. Everybody's always talking about how good the Chick-fil-A sauce is, and honestly, it is good. I've been combining all sorts of sauces together since I was a kid, and this is pretty much their version of their special sauce. But I like it because it's got a lot of different things in it. People think it's crazy, but you really can't go wrong when you mix together pretty much every common condiment. It actually tastes really good. And other than the Thousand Island dressing type of thing, that's pretty much how you make a special sauce, mixing lots of stuff together. Now I will say that this Chick-fil-A sauce has some pretty weird stuff in it. There's just a bunch of things there that honestly you don't really need. For instance, why would you ever want corn syrup in here? I'm just gonna take a little dab on my finger to give us a little taste to know what we're dealing with here. That's the thing, it's a really good sauce and it's so well balanced. One of the biggest things that comes out is that Dijon mustard, but I also get a little bit of lemon in there. And then mayo permeates the rest of the flavor there. It's a great sauce, but we can make it better. To start, I'm gonna go in with about a half cup of Japanese mayonnaise. You all know how much I love Japanese mayonnaise. Maybe it's just cause it's got a little MSG in there. Next, I'll go in with about a quarter cup of really nice barbecue sauce, a little splash of apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, a quarter cup of honey, which is a really distinct part of this sauce and I love it. And to finish it off, just a tiny squeeze of fresh lemon juice. And if you want, a little pinch of salt never hurts. Whisk that all together until smooth. Notice that the Chick-fil-A sauce has caramel color in there, so we're not gonna get that same vibrant yellowish color that they have. But as long as you generally follow that recipe I just gave you, you should come out with something pretty darn similar. Once you've whisked it, make sure that you have the right consistency. It's easy to add a little bit more mayonnaise if you'd like. Our Chick-fil-A sauce is mind-blowingly delicious, and that real honey in there takes it to a level you never could have imagined. Set this aside. Once those are set, prior to them going in the oven, I'm gonna paint them all with a nice egg wash. All I've gotten here is a few egg yolks and just a little bit of cold water. These will give our buns a beautiful golden brown shine. And just looking over right now at the Chick-fil-A buns, I can confidently say that our buns are gonna put theirs to shame. I guess the real question here is who's got better buns? Chick-fil-A or Nick? I literally say it every single time I'm painting, but painting buns or painting anything with an egg wash is really, really fun. The better word for it would be very satisfying. It's also okay if a little bit of that egg wash falls onto the bottom of the Silopat mat, because that'll just cook and dry up right on the mat, so it doesn't need to look perfect and pretty here. Once these are all painted with egg wash, we're gonna toss them in the oven at 400 Fahrenheit for about 15, maybe 20 minutes. And under it, I'm also gonna put a little tray with a tad bit of water to keep it nice and steamy in there. These will keep our brioche buns really moist. For our chicken dredge, we're gonna use a 2-step process today. In our first bowl here, we're gonna crack in just 1 egg and then about 1 cup of milk. Whisk this up to get it well combined. You can also use cream here if you like, which I'm trying out today. I wanna see if that gives a different texture to the chicken. Now in our other bowl, instead of all-purpose flour, we're gonna use a cup of potato starch. I will say right now that Chick-fil-A uses all-purpose flour as far as I know. So this is one of the areas where I'm hoping to totally kick their butts with extra crispy chicken. Here, I'm also gonna add about a tablespoon of confectioner sugar, which is a common trick used in places like Chick-fil-A, KFC, and more. When that sugar hits the deep fryer, it starts to to caramelize and gives a unique, delicious flavor. Then I'm also gonna season this with just a little bit of salt. I know this seems like it's lacking flavor, but we've already pumped in some flavor with that pickle juice and buttermilk, and our Chick-fil-A sauce has tons of seasoning. You know I'd put a bunch of different spices in here to really get that extra flavor there. But I wanna make sure we have at least a somewhat level playing field against Chick-fil-A. Now, for our dredging process, we're gonna start with the chicken in that milk and egg mixture, shake off any of that excess, and then toss it right into our starch. Make sure to really fully coat that chicken and press it into that starch mixture, as we don't want any spots that haven't been covered with this. Then, once we shake off the excess, we're gonna double fry our chicken to get it extra crispy. We're first gonna lightly fry at 325 Fahrenheit to get the chicken cooked. When dropping them in, we go tempura style, slowly letting them wade down into that oil until you barely sear off your fingertips. After we fry it here at 325, we then go to 375 to finish it off. 325 is more of the cooking process. Then we bump it up to 375 Fahrenheit to get that crisp golden brown. Once these have been going for a few minutes, they'll be nice and crispy, but they won't have that golden brown color quite yet. Just look at that crackling on top of them, but wait till we get that golden brown. Now we cover this back up and then let it climb up to 375. These have got to be some of the shiniest buns I have ever seen in my life. And I've made a lot of buns. But just look at that glaze. Look at that shine. Perfection. Now that we brought this up to 375, our chicken goes back in until it's golden brown and crispy. Don't worry about setting a timer for this. Just keep an eye and don't burn it.
Please don't burn it.
And after just a few minutes, that chicken is ready. Bubbly as can be and so crispy. Immediately, I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of salt because that salt will stick to the chicken right when all that fat's still bubbling on the top. Now, we should be good to assemble. Let's start by cutting open our perfect bun. I'm honestly not sure how to describe it other than the fact that it really is a picture perfect bun. And just take a look at the inside of that thing. These buns are all just a work of art. To make our sandwich, let's keep things simple. Out of the pickle jar, a couple of homemade pickles. I never like when they put 2 because 2 doesn't fit well across a circular bun. So instead, I'm gonna use 3. I'll layer those pickles gently across the bottom of my bun, then take an absolutely gorgeous piece of my fried chicken, place this down on top of our bun, and simply add the top. Now I wouldn't eat this as is because I want some sauce in there. And as you know, we made some Chick-fil-A sauce, but I wanna put that on right before we eat it. It's come time to do what we do best. We gotta taste these right next to one another. This is how I build my sandwiches pretty much anywhere. I mean, let's give Chick-fil-A some credit. This has been sitting here for a little bit longer than this one, but it still goes to show you that their sandwich is quite sad and deflated. And I know they haven't put an egg wash on top of this. Let's evenly spread that Chick-fil-A sauce. One thing I don't like about this type of sauce is that it's a little bit more sticky and almost has that mucus-like consistency. You know what I mean by that, right? It's just not quite as appetizing to me. Whereas a homemade sauce is just the same, but has more natural and better flavors without that mucusy texture. Think of that sweet and sour sauce from McDonald's, or one of those weird sticky salad dressings to know what I'm talking about here. Flop that bun on top and this baby's ready to eat. Now as for our baby over here, I'm gonna gently take off that bun and then come in with our homemade Chick-fil-A sauce. Watch that go right down the side of that sandwich. And tell me that doesn't look fascinating. It just looks fabulous. Unbeatable, one might say. Now I wanna show you one more thing before we start. This is another piece of our chicken. Just take a listen here. Perfectly cooked. That right there is as crispy as you can possibly get. There's one more thing I want to call to everyone's attention here. Their fries. And I know, the fries weren't really on the table with this one, but at the same time, they so are. And as you might remember as I was driving out, these fries aren't crispy. They're undercooked actually. And Chick-fil-A, that bums me out. So help me to help you here. My fryer's already heated up. I can finish the drill for you guys. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to come to every location you've got and just extra crisp those fries up for you. You know where to find me. Now first, we got this beautiful, well-lit baby right here. I mean, we didn't mess around at all with this chicken sandwich. You got this and then you got this. But hey, I'm not gonna say anything yet. We gotta try both. None of this is trying to say that Chick-fil-A or Popeyes for a later video are bad. In fact, they're incredible. The fact that they're able to crank out so many of these sandwiches and make them all so equally good is fascinating to me. I'm just trying to get you to know that you can make one at home that's just as good, if not much better. Let's say we just take a bite of the Chick-fil-A sandwich first. It's a good sandwich, but I don't know, suddenly it just doesn't look as good sitting next to the one that we made homemade. And yeah, that Chick-fil-A sauce is really good. And without it, unless this comes fresh and very hot out of their kitchen, not as good as it could be. Because like I said, Popeyes nails that seasoning. But Popeyes is for a later date. We'll get there. For now, we focus on Chick-fil-A and us. That's the only thing. Thinking about how this was when I tried it immediately out of the kitchen, I give this sandwich a good 8 out of 10, maybe a 7.65. Chicken's well cooked, it's nice and crispy on the edge, but again, it doesn't have as much crisp as I really want there, and I know it's all-purpose flour. Pickles also could use some work, because those pickles, not so good. You can tell they didn't put quite enough love into those pickles. And that's where we come in. First, listen. Then listen again. You know what? I don't even know where to start. It's a really good thing in this case too. The fact that we've made every part of this chicken sandwich homemade allows us to really taste each and every element that's been elevated. For instance, in that Chick-fil-A sauce, I taste that honey mustard, but I taste it separately. The honey is so good and fresh and real. And the mustard has those really nice hints reminiscent of Dijon mustard. The Chick-fil-A sauce itself for me blends all together, but what we've made here is so much better. And then don't even let me get started about the chicken. That is a piece of the chicken that we made. That's really good chicken. Yes, we didn't put a ton of seasonings in that dredge that we brought it through, but all the seasoning is in our sauce and that pickle juice and that buttermilk. What really is important about the chicken here is that it's perfectly cooked, so juicy on the inside, but so crispy on the outside. It's got that shell that can soak up some of that sauce while staying crispy around the edges and giving you that crunch. The pickles, chef's kiss. And then of course, those beautiful buns. I could shower in these buns. I mean, they're shiny, they're soft, they're glimmering in the sunlight. They're beautiful. I guess the real thing I'm trying to say is next time you pull up to a Chick-fil-A and the line is all the way around the entire road and highway, don't wait. Drive back home and make your own sandwich. But seriously, I hope you love this video. I'm so glad that we got to branch out and do something new today. And if you like it, please let us know in the comments below because we'll do more of it. What else do you want to see me make? I'll be reading all your suggestions. And in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, click that notifications button so you're not missing a darn thing, and please toss the video a like. Also, I'll be giving $10,000 of cooking equipment away soon on my Instagram, so go follow there as well so you don't miss that. Until next time, I got a great sandwich to finish.